Tony,
Absolutely.
just for a few minutes, just to whet our appetite in terms of the welcome process for a new manager, yeah, that you and I have talked about, I guess, for 12 months, even before DHL arrived on the scene. If you can, just a couple of minutes to just tease us almost with what that's about, and then we can build on it from there.
Yeah, sure. And you know me, I'm quite giddy about this process because I've been through it. I've been through it 3 times in my career, and every time, if I start at the end, the feedback has been, "Oh my God, that, excuse the French, but that cuts out 18 months of crap where I'm dancing around trying to get to know you." That just takes me to that place very quickly, and that's the consistent feedback I've had over the years. So the new manager process is, and it's not a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise for the experience and the knowledge that the guys have. It's about communication, and so the process. Well, I'll talk you through the process very quickly. In very simple terms, the new manager, after about a month to 6 weeks, invites a section of, invites whoever he or she believes that it's important that they get to know them quickly. That's the criteria, really. It's as simple as that. And that's generally peers. It can be direct reports. It can be indirect reports. It can be trade union colleagues. It can be a couple of senior colleagues, but generally it's business partners, it's direct reports, and a couple of AN others like TU colleagues and so on.
Yeah.
And the setting is important. It's better done off-site, so there's no interruptions. And it's better done, certainly in my experience, it's better done late afternoon, early evening, so you can grab a bite to eat and a quick beer afterwards.
Yes.
That just sort of lands the sentiment, really. Now that's not everybody's cup of tea. Though I'll tell you, the finance director who works in my team, after the session, I'll tell you what his feedback was when I've described the process.
Yeah, thank you.
So the team meets, they're invited and given probably 2 or 3 weeks notice. So generally you're trying to make it, as many people can make it as possible, because it is really, really important. And as long as it's important to the individual going through it, then I think that sentiment will come through the process. And you meet off-site in a hotel room, let's say, in a small conference room. However, probably around, so in the last one, in my DHL one, there were about 25 people there, just to give some size and scale. In previous businesses, it's probably been about the same, between 20 and 30 people.
Okay.
Again, peers, direct reports, business partners. Literally horseshoe-shaped room. And what happens is it's a facilitated process. So the facilitator, without the new manager in the room, introduces the process. And you have to tell me how much detail you want me to go into, Graham.
No, you just carry on. That's great. Thank you. No, of course.
So the facilitator introduces the process and says, we're going to bring the new manager in shortly. There are 3 elements to the session. The first element is an open and an introduction from the new manager, where literally, as you'd expect, they just thank everybody for giving up 3 or 4 hours and maybe some of their evening time for coming to this. And for me, that was about me learning about the team, as well as the team understanding what important things, or what things were important to me. And then it's a flip charted process whereby the new manager then leaves the room and goes and sits in the bar or gets a coffee for about half an hour. So it's not a long-winded thing. The facilitator in the room with the team literally asks a series of questions. What do we already know about the new manager? What do we think we already know about the new manager? What would we like to know about the new manager? What should he know about us?
Yeah, okay.
So it's anonymous. So that facilitator takes all those points and flip charts them and ends up with a list of questions and observations. The new manager comes back in, the team go out. Now this, again, different people have different views on this. The team go out and the new manager just gets familiar with some of the questions and the themes. 5 minutes, that's all. It's literally to let the guys go out and get a drink. That's how we've done it. The guys then come back in the room and the new manager sits and talks through and answers the questions and asks for expansion on them if people are comfortable to expand on them, or just goes through and shares. Generally, what I've found the questions are around are you as an individual, you as a part of a team, and you as certainly in this role, you as what's your leadership style? So all those things start to come through. For me, being the new manager, it enables me to contextualize my values, my beliefs, what's important to me, how important family is. So you know, even questions around family, how old are your kids, stuff that people want to know about you because they want to know you're a human being.
Great.
And then you sit and go through those, you finish, you have a 5-minute break, and the team go out then for half an hour. You can do this collectively if you want to, or the team go out for half an hour. I make some questions that I want to ask the team. Half an hour is probably too long, 20 minutes. They come back in. The team are now ready and in shape for me just to ask them some questions. So, you know, what are the pitfalls of working for DHL? Tell me what you think's not great around here. What would the guys on the ground as operators say? What do you think of the business? And lots of things like that, Graham. So, and it can be in any way, shape, or form you want it to be, really, with that minimum structure.
Great. Two things around that. Does it normally emerge about what the previous leader was like? Assuming that person's not in the room, of course.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yes, it does. And I think naturally people make comparisons. And so you will get, so my predecessor was called Chris, you will get, well, Chris used to do this, what do you think?
Yeah.
Chris would have a meeting for 4 hours every week. Is that what you plan to do?
Yeah, okay.
And what I'd say is, as a new manager, don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Do you know what, guys? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? And that for me has been really valuable. So the FD said to me, Graham, these are his words, not mine. So he said to me after the session, he said, you know what? He said, in finance, we're accused of being a bit wooden, aren't we? And having no sense of humour and not really liking stuff like this. I came into the business a year ago. Do you know what? If I'd have done that a year ago, it would have helped my induction tenfold.
Yeah.
And that for me is, you know, this guy's still only been in the business 15 months now, still relatively new. But because of the size of the organisation, he didn't know where to go to on some points, hence the reason for the creation of the best welcome process.
Yeah, no, great. Okay, no, great reaction from him. Does the session end in some action points?
I'm going to say it can do, generally. So what I've done, and we did this on the Tuesday before the country went into lockdown on the Friday, or the Thursday night, whenever it was. I took all the flip charts, and my intention was, and I haven't done it yet, my intention was that I would take the themes from the flip charts and then go back and share them with my direct team who were in that session, to then say, guys, how do you want us to do this? So if there's anything in there for me personally, like, for example, some of the feedback was, you know, so one of the questions from me to the team was, you know, what advice would you give me as a new person? And they reiterated the get to know the business. The business has some idiosyncrasies you need to know about. You know, it might be around this, or this, but get to know it. So it doesn't have to have, because for me it's about, there's a real sharing of almost emotions, actually, Graham, in a session like that. There's a real connection. I've found in every one I've done, I find a real connection with the team.
Yeah.
Because they actually want to know about you as an individual.
Yeah.
And that comes through clearly in the team. So the fact that there might not be any actions, there can be if you want them to be, but the fact that there might not be any actions almost takes some of the pressure off, because it's just a talk.
No, I can now I've asked you the question, I can see why that is the right answer. Because it is about relationships and about trust. And if all of a sudden it becomes a session about, well, what do we need to do next week? Because that, because that'll take care of itself, won't it, really? So I can understand that the main purpose wouldn't be to come out with a whole list of action points, because then you haven't, as the new manager, you haven't got time to reflect on that, and you might be committing yourself to some things that actually might not be appropriate.
Yeah, and you know what? You get the usual. Can you have a look at our pay? And you need to have a look at this. And you get all of those things as you'd expect. But the fact that you get them straight away, and it's not some hidden rumbling that you're not aware of. The fact that you get to know that in advance of really starting your day job, and it's back to the induction of no expectation to do your job for the first 3 months even.
That's a contradiction in terms, isn't it? If you come out with some action points, 20 action points, that's not getting used to the business. That's, I've got to deal with all of this.
Yeah, exactly. It literally is. It's having a discussion about how we're going to do things, not what things we're going to do.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's all right. That's really helpful. Okay, so just on that for today, then, is there any reason why this couldn't be worked through for anybody who takes up a new position and at any level in the organisation? So I'm thinking, I think in Ardar, the lads at Doncaster, could be anywhere, take on a new operator within the team. They use an assessment centre methodology. It's really good. Are you with me? And then I'm going to say diluted version, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but some process that when that person goes on to their shift, somehow that process is used, really.
Yeah, I think there's no reason to not. The only off-putting element is if you've got a continual recruitment process, let's say, it's difficult. If you've got 20 people coming in across 2 or 3 months, that's a lot to do.
Yeah,
I think that's the only reason that people would be put off by it, Graham. Other than that, if you've got a shift of 10 guys on and you're bringing, you're just replacing somebody on that shift.
Yeah,
there's no reason why you wouldn't do that with that shift or that team.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That's a very sensible response. Yeah. But there's no reason why, isn't it, in our work together with the lads on the programme, that we couldn't try that out with indeed first line leaders.
Yeah, not at all. I actually think it's probably more important for that level, because my view on first line managers, Graham, and I said it earlier, they have the most difficult leadership role, I think, in any business.
Yeah, no, they do. Yeah, indeed, and that's why, again, we welcome your involvement in the first line leader strategy group to do something about those things. So okay, super. Well, okay, so thanks for that as well, Tony, and we'll build on that. We'll make something of that. Yeah.